Good morning. I've been here 5 years.
Okay, good morning, everyone. This is our regularly scheduled Board of Selectmen meeting for August 1st, 2022. Mr. Hoy is not available this morning, so I'll be sitting in the chair. And our first order of business is the pledge of allegiance. Charles, thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, everybody. We have 4 items to add to the agenda. Health Director, Sustainable Guilford, Sonia Marino, and Nathan Scroggin, presentation of health impact assessments for town projects. Can I have a motion to add that to the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Also add to the agenda, discuss and take possible action to contract with Strategic Security for a camera system for town hall. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Charles?
Aye.
Thank you. Act on resignation received from Juan Kohlberg from the Human Rights Commission. I'd like to have a motion to add that to the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed to any of these? Since there's 3 of us, Ms. Renner's not here as well, I should point out for the record. Also add to the agenda, act on a recommendation to appoint Mateen Cosgel to the Human Rights Commission to fill a vacancy for a term to expire June 30th, 2024. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay, I'll do public forum. I know we have some time pressure with Sonia. We will get to you in a moment, but let me just check to make sure we don't have any public forum limited to 3 minutes on any agenda item. Anybody in the room? Anybody on Zoom? Anything for public forum? Nope, hearing none. Sonia, you have the floor. Or the mic.
Nathan, did you want to introduce?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you and good morning. We appreciate you all carving out a few minutes of this meeting for us to share some information on health impact assessments. Just really quickly, my name's Nathan. I'm a member of the Sustainable Guilford Task Force. And as you may know, this task force on a periodic basis pursues certification for the Sustainable Guilford or Sustainable Connecticut, certification, which is basically a collection of actions that the town undertakes to collect points to get Guilford certified as being sustainable in a whole host of different initiatives from social, environmental, socioeconomic initiatives, et cetera. One of the pursuits that we're working on right now is an action called health impact assessments, which Sonia has been very gracious to support this work in, something she's passionate about already, which is fantastic. The first step in this process is for Sonia to have undertaken some training about health impact assessments, what they are, how they can impact the town. We could share with you some of the plans or ideas that we have to institute health impact assessments into future projects and all the benefits that can have for the town going forward. And then to just very quickly present that training to you, a group of elected officials here in town. That's good enough for us to kind of check the box in this first step of the process, submit the proper paperwork, and move on in the process to actually being able to do the impactful work downstream for future town projects. So that as the setup, we appreciate your time. Sonia's gonna, Sonia doesn't move slowly in anything she does. So I don't think you can assume this is gonna take a whole lot of time, but she's gonna just present to you some materials on health impact assessments. We'll answer any questions that you may have, and then that should be it. So again, thank you, Sonia, for being here, and the floor is yours.
Hi, I want to make sure that you guys can see my presentation first.
To give her the.
Karen? Or Tracy?
Yeah, I made you a co-host, so you should be able to share your screen. There's like
Oh,
a share screen button.
Okay, hold
Yeah.
on. Is it there?
Nope.
I definitely used it. I'm so sorry.
Do you have your, there it comes, Sonia. It's
Okay.
coming up.
Thank
We
you.
got it
Sorry
now.
about that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. Okay, so I'm here to talk about health impact assessments. The first thing I want to talk, oh, here we go. Okay, so what is a health impact assessment? A health impact assessment, according to World Health Organization, it's a combination of procedures and methods and tools by which our policy or project can be judged to its potential effects on the health of the population and distribution of those effects with those population. So basically a project or a policy using tools to check it out and measure it against particular vulnerable or disadvantaged groups. What's the use of an HIA? Local health departments, planning departments. Jamie and I actually have discussed this in quite at length for some of the prevention and planning methods, because we're both kind of bridged in that part. It also helps community organizations, policymakers as a decision support tool. An example of an HIA can be used for affordable housing, subdivision regulations, safe routes to schools, environmental justice issues. There's 3 types of HIAs. Rapid, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's usually carried out quickly and with minimal resources. It includes a brief investigation of the health impacts. An intermediate one requires a little more of a detailed investigation for potential health impacts. And a comprehensive is an intense investigation. There's 3 phases of an HIA: a policy and program development phase, stakeholder participation, and policy implementation. An HIA also has 5 steps: screening, scoping, appraisals, recommendations, evaluations. There's quite a few 5 main steps. So sometimes 3, 4, and 5 can be interchanged with different wording. And you'll see that coming through.
Hey, Sonia, can you just a
Yes.
moment? If you are reading from something that is supposed to be on, we're still not seeing your presentation. I mean, we hear you, you're
Oh.
clear and we understand, but it might be helpful to see it as well, certainly for folks out there.
Lou, there's a button on your screen there. It's a
Figures.
content button.
Content.
If you hit that, you
Share
should be able to,
content?
yeah, see if that works.
Oh, can you see it or not?
Still
We
not
can
yet.
see it. We can see it on Zoom, Sonia. They're having trouble in the meeting room. Hold on one sec.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that got me
All
nervous.
right. We may need an assist here. Thanks. Awesome. There we go. Thanks.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead. You're good to go.
Okay, so the 5 main steps that I'm using the National Association of County and City of Health Officials as what I use for reference, but there is many different types of references out for health impact assessment, but they all basically do the same thing, which is screening, scoping, appraisals, recommendation, and evaluations. This here is from the World Health Organization. So it's going to go through the 3 phases, and we're going to go through each one of the steps quickly, I promise. The first part is screening. Do I need an HIA? And if I do need it, if I don't need it, why? Is the effects already known? Or it's not really doesn't make a difference if I did one or not. I mean, you're really trying to figure out if you want an HIA to be done in the first place. Stakeholder. Okay, so stakeholders and decision makers, you want to identify your resources and you want to apply your screening procedures using checklists, logic models, and focus surveys if you do intend to go forward with an HIA. The second step is scoping. The scoping is planning an HIA and identifying what health and risks and benefits. Basically, you want to get a group together, a steering group, to ensure your approach of the assessment is more of a holistic instead of just a single process or single view of a subject. Then you have to determine which one you want, rapid, comprehensive, or intermediate. You want to determine the impacts, for example, noise, physical activity, noise, depending on the project that you're doing. The second part is an appraisal, and it's basically the core of an HIA. It's a process to identify the goals and objectives of HIA. You want to ask, does the policy have the potential to infect the environment? Are the social determinants, will that infect the environment or the health outcomes? Are there any health inequities and the magnitude of the impact of what could occur? You also want to use methods for collecting. And because of public health research, it's my backbone. So of course, I got to talk about quantitative versus qualitative methods, using both to do a HIA in the appraisal section of the HIA. The second to last one is reporting. Reporting is, you want to describe this. So when you're creating your report, right, you want to describe what you're doing. You want to check what your priorities are. You want to check all the views of the stakeholders, and you want to check all the available research, which basically means a research study. And then you want to present the overall findings and the recommendations. The last part is recommendations, evaluation and monitoring. It's the final step of an HIA, and it allows you to evaluate the process and the effectiveness of an HIA. You're basically checking over, did it make an impact? Basically a hot wash. How well did the health impact assessment really do for the project in which you're working, or policy that you're working for? Told you it was going to be quick and easy. So I have any questions, but I did want to mention one thing. I have worked with Southern Connecticut State University, their health promotion and priorities course for 5 years in a row. That's a great course, and it's quite free of labor. I have asked them again this summer to help us in the fall. And as long as we're meeting with Nathan and probably Jamie to figure out a policy or project that the class can work on for us. That's it.
So thanks, Sonia. That's great. Does anybody have any questions on the board?
No, does this require any action from this board, or is this simply a presentation of what the health department's going to be doing going forward?
I had the same question. So sounds like you're just giving us an update on your strategic plan for the short, medium term.
No, I'm just helping out the Guilford Sustainable Task Force. I mean, yes, I do use this. I was educated in this, but that's not the only thing that we're doing. I would love to do more public health and prevention methods, but this isn't just my whole vision going forward.
Yeah, for
Fair enough.
For the board, there's a dual purpose here. One is to fulfill the requirement of the Sustainable Connecticut action required to collect the points to move Guilford towards advanced certification. That's the primary objective. Secondarily, we want to actually we as a collection of folks think that this actually that could help the town long term. So we wanted to introduce this to you as a group, and then continue to work with officials, Sonia, Jamie, Rick, and others to evaluate potential use of an HIA in future projects. So put it on your radar. We may come back at some point and say, hey, this is something that we'd like to do. We think it can add value to a project. But at this point, no further action is necessary.
So we're not implementing this at this point in time, but it's something you're working towards.
Yes, correct.
Do you have a time frame for that?
I think the earliest we could likely do this would be, I mean, Sonia, based on Dr. Brenny's comments, it would be sometime in 23. I think there's been early discussion around some future housing projects that could benefit from a health impact assessment, and we have a line of sight on that, but we don't have any specific clarity at this point.
Will the implementation of this or programs similar to this require any zoning ordinance / regulation changes?
It likely, Sonia, step in here if I'm out of bounds here, but the answer is likely no, and it depends on what the outcome of the assessment is, and therefore any recommendations that come out of it, but likely no.
So
once we do I'm so sorry.
The potential requirement for this assessment then would not necessarily be a requirement of a zoning application at this point, or at a future point in time?
Correct. This is basically just to, when we finally pick a project or a policy, then whatever recommendations, the fifth step, that would be presented to you if there was any actions that needed to be done by the selectmen. We work hand in hand with zoning and planning, so that would have, if we did have any suggestions, that would come way in advance, and we would talk about it and present it to you guys as a partnership if that were a situation that occurred.
Okay, I have no other question.
Okay, thanks, Sandy. So I'd like to just touch on the minutes before we get to the other agenda items. We had something.
Does this require any action for us at all?
I think she answered that, but I'll circle back. Sonia, you don't need anything further from us at this moment, right? You're providing this update and this sort of vision of what's happening, but you don't need action today.
Correct. Yes.
That's what I heard. Okay, okay. Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next two items I think are likely to also the minutes in both cases. I don't think we have a quorum to address our July 18th minutes. Sandy wasn't here. Matt and Sue aren't here, so I would sort of, I guess, request if we need it, but probably the right thing, a motion to table the July 18th minutes.
So
Second.
Any further discussion? No? All in favor? Aye. Okay, and likewise, the July 12th minutes, I think we have a similar deficit. Matt's not here. There were some issues we wanted to discuss. We'll just leave that on the table. I don't even think that requires any action. So with that, we can circle back to the next agenda item. The new agenda item was the strategic security for camera system in town hall. I think. Oh, I got to hit something again.
No, go ahead.
We need somebody here for that, or is those folks online? Who's here for the strategic security system?
Tony, listen.
Yeah, I'll get, you want to do that one now?
Sorry,
I'll get-
Chase, I'm giving you your
That's
laps
okay.
today.
I'll get Tony, hang on. Why don't you go on to another one?
Okay, we'll jump ahead to the, because the next ones are some, we'll skip 3 and 4 of the new items and we can jump ahead to Cliff with the BL companies.
Good morning, how we doing?
Good morning.
Thanks for having me. So this should be relatively quick. We are in the process of looking to do or redo some load calculations for the Baldwin Middle School HVAC project. As you're aware, we've been having some problems with 2 of our units, air handler 5 and 6, not really supplying sufficient air to several of the rooms. So we are presently at a standstill between the engineer of record and the contractor doing the work. So it was recommended by Jeff D'Onofrio that we get a third party in here to check the load calculations. So we did go out and try to get several proposals. We got one other proposal besides the one from BL companies, and that was from Kohler Ronin, and that was a much higher price. The other 2 firms that we had requested price from declined due to conflict of interest. So we are looking at awarding the load calculations for Baldwin in the amount of $8,500 to BL companies, contingent upon the Standing Building Committee's final award at their meeting tomorrow night.
Okay,
Cliff,
go ahead. Charles?
Cliff, is this the type of expense that potentially will be part of any settlement between the disagreement that's going on over this issue?
Yes, it will be.
Well, that's an interesting observation, Cliff. So if I'm understanding correctly, outside counsel, I think you mentioned it's Jeff D'Onofrio. And they're assessing, the issue here is they're assessing why what was recently installed is not doing what it was supposed to be doing.
Correct.
Okay, and we're hiring BL companies to sort of help us get some data to get underneath that a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, so what BL companies is doing is not necessarily changing anything that's in place. It's getting inside, understanding why what's there is not doing what it's supposed to be doing.
This is
Correct.
work. This is winning the battle.
This is deconstructing what the problem.
Correct. They're going to confirm or determine whether or not the design was adequate for the size of those areas, essentially.
Okay, so, I mean, in theory, there's some universe in which expenses like that get recovered. You think that that's likely? I mean, that was Charles' question.
Correct. I do believe that, yes, it will get recovered in the outcome of the overall project, yes.
Okay, I hope so. And tomorrow night, you are reviewing this with the Standing Building Committee.
Correct. I've already had in-depth conversations with the chair, and he has approved moving forward with it verbally. So that's why I brought it to the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, and there's some time pressure to get this done, so why we're going out of sequence with standing building?
Correct. We're really trying to get this information gathered together so we can get a solution to the problem sooner than later. Yes.
Okay, I don't have anything else, I guess.
Well, hi Cliff, this is one of those things where you're coming to us before the standing building committee has actually voted on it.
Correct. That's why it's contingent upon their vote tomorrow night.
Okay. So if we vote yes today, I guess, can we say ours is contingent?
That's what the request is.
Yeah.
Have it
Right.
contingent on the formal vote by SBC.
Yeah.
So,
It's one of those struggles, just gotta do it.
Right.
yeah,
I'll
All right.
move it, contingent on.
okay, fair enough.
I'll second it.
All right, any other discussion from anyone on the board? No? Okay, all in favor of approving this hiring of BO companies for $8,500 contingent on the vote by SBC tomorrow? Say aye.
All right,
Aye. Any opposed? No? Okay, that moves forward. Cliff, keep us posted, please. And most importantly, get back to Mr. Hoy.
I most definitely will. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Right.
Okay, Tony,
Yes.
we have an item we added to the agenda this morning for strategic security, to retain strategic security for a camera system here. Town
Yes, I
hall.
was looking to just get the,
Want to get famous and sit in the corner?
oh, you want me to sit?
Yeah,
I'm looking to just get waived having to get 3 quotes since we've already been using them. At the community center, cameras, and I believe Public Works. So that's what I'm looking to do.
and so tell me how many different projects we've retained security.
For them,
Strategic
two
security.
already that we've done.
When you retain them for those other 2 areas, did you do a bid?
They-
Did you do a 3?
They were lower amount.
But you
This
did
is-
3 quotes at that time?
Yes. This is a while ago.
And did these prices seem to be in line with the prices we had for the other work at the other facilities?
This is more towards how the community center is, Public Works was a lot less. But this is the most. This is the most in all the.
But I guess per unit. does it-
It's going up. It's going up because of all the, I told them I had to keep it under 25,000, so they were higher.
So what's the problem with getting 2 other bids?
There probably is not. I just wanted to keep them with what we're already using because the endpoint software would interact with what I'm already using. So instead of having multiple different pieces of software to monitor, it would be all the same on the same platform.
other companies couldn't use the same.
They probably could use the same hardware.
Not the
Yeah.
same software, this.
No, they probably could. I mean, I could do it if you want me to.
I'm just trying to understand if there's some urgency in breaking the.
No, there's no urgency.
The practice of, I mean,
Right.
even if there's some thousands of dollars of saving.
What, can you refresh me, what is the threshold where you have to do the 3 bids?
Thanks for that.
Is it $7,500?
Yeah, I believe so.
This is quotes, not bids, because then I think there's a threshold that where you have to do the formal legal bidding,
That's
but,
the 25,000, I think.
but I have to say, I would feel more comfortable if
Getting
this
2
is
more?
not an emergency, you could get the other 2 quotes.
I could.
think
I could.
that would
Right, I
be
mean, if
good.
there was some particular unique, every once in a while, we hear that this is the only supplier, or there's some really particular circumstance requiring.
I think there's a logic to keeping equipment and software consistent, so I can appreciate your logic there, plus it sounds like you have a working relationship.
Yeah, I do. And if I have an issue, I call one person and not have
There's
to,
value
I'm
in that.
assuming that the other 2 projects have been successful.
yes.
I mean, we
I can
may,
appreciate Sandy's point, and if it's, unless you've got a timing issue, I can support Sandy's position, but I can see logic.
because even if you get the other 2 quotes and they're lower, you don't have to, you're not
Right.
absolutely obligated to take the lowest bid, but it just gives us a little.
Yeah, and I'll just tell them this is what I need. This is the same
Yeah.
follow this
Yeah.
hardware
It's
rule.
gotta be the equipment and consistent.
Right.
equipment and software.
Okay. No problem with
There's
that.
a logic to it. I mean, that way, no. Keeps everybody.
Okay, so it seems to me the matter here is not to take any action on this at all. We don't even need to really table it. You gotta come
Okay, I
back.
just come with a couple more quotes.
Okay,
Sounds good.
okay, good.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
You're welcome.
All right. We drag Tony down the hall. We've heard from Cliff. That brings us to item 5. Chief Hyatt.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
So today I'm just asking for approval to purchase a couple of switches for our in-house camera system. Over the last couple of years, we've added new cameras, both internally and externally at the building. We found some areas that we felt were voids that we've now been able to include in our system for safety and security. The problem with that is as you add cameras, you add the amount of data that's getting moved through the system, through those switches increases. The switches that were in place when that system was originally put in a number of years ago, one of them, I believe, is coming to end of life, and the others are not adequate to effectively move all of the data that needs to move with the addition of the new cameras. So this is a request through our approved capital budget, and the dollar amount is $9,886.67 for the Meraki switches.
So all of this other, I mean, there's a lot of numbers here that, but the 98 is total or just partial of all these other numbers that are here? I mean, there's a 12,587 summary number too.
Those were the other quotes.
Oh, I see. Yeah, CDW.
Okay.
There were 3 quotes here.
Okay, I apologize, I'm sorry.
So that would be the lowest quote.
So the number we're talking about is the 9,886.
Right, and that would, again, through our capital budget that we put through in the last budget season.
So consistent with the questions we just put Tony through, this equipment is consistent with what you already have in place, and there's not going to be any software issues. Everything's going to work happy.
Right, the Meraki switches are what Jay Leatherman, our IT director here through public safety. Those are switches that he uses all the time. He's the person that's installing and moving these things around all the time for us. So these are the things that he uses and will interface with what's already there.
I'll move it.
Sounds good. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion, anyone? All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Nope. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Two.
Okay, we have all of public safety here today. Fire Chief Hershat, thank you. And I think you brought a wingman.
Sir, Captain Haverkamp is with me just in case we need some further questions answered.
So, yeah, what is this?
We're here to ask you to award RFP 4/2122 to Spec Rescue in the amount of $78,831.50. This is a federal grant money. There's really no town funds. We just need to get the RFP awarded so we can start negotiating or setting dates for the training.
Well, it's training. I couldn't really tell what
Yeah, it's
it was.
training.
Because there's something about structural collapse. So in other words, it's to send your firefighters and have them know how to handle a structural collapse
Right.
situation.
We've used this same company 6 years ago.
Right.
6 years ago for the same training.
Okay, and there's federal grant money
Right.
for this. It's
Right.
Is it training done locally?
Huh?
Is it training done locally?
Done at our facility, yeah.
So, I'm sorry, down where?
It's done here at the firehouse.
So but they bring.
We actually knocked the firehouse, no. We'll be here for a new firehouse right after that, no?
As long as you don't mention the word storage structure. So, okay, that's
And
fairly
this,
straightforward.
this is a sole source, so that's why you just have the one,
No, we put it out to RFP
Okay.
and we only got the one bidder.
okay.
Yep, you say only one bidder. Okay.
Okay,
Anything else? Do we have a motion? Thank you, Charles.
second,
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. All right, we have facilities left and right here. Mr. McCool from the library.
So just asking for the approval to hire Silver Petroselli and Associates to develop the plan, which will then lead to a bidding process to replace the slate roof on the library. They were one of 3 bidders on the town approved list, and they were by far the lowest, and we're happy with their plan. I would only point out one thing. The approval for the actual roof project in the capital budget is $99,500. That's not going to cover the entirety of this. So the library board and I spoke, and we are going to cover some of the cost of this, the plan itself, that process.
The construction, you mean, or this?
For this, yes.
14,000.
Yes, so, we
That
will-
must be what you mean by mostly covered.
right, yes.
Anticipated my question,
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because the original placeholder, so to speak, in the capital budget for the roof itself was done a long time ago. So things have changed. We will have to.
Of that 17,000, what do you think that difference is?
Oh, I'm sorry, the plan itself, we weren't thinking of the plan aspect of this when the placeholder was put into the capital budget for the roof replacement. So the $99,500 is really just for the roof replacement itself. Honestly, this part was not thought of originally, so this kind of, I talked to Steve Nydorf kind of halfway through this year, realized this was an essential component. Didn't want to go back and kind of redo the capital because there is a leak. I want to kind of get on this, so I talked to the library board about this, so we will help make the difference up between library maintenance money and, so.
And since you're talking about a roof project, the previous one of which lasted 100 years, right?
Right, that's why we've spoken about it, and we want to go with slate. The difference between slate and faux slate seems to be of not quite what I once thought it was, so I think we're gonna be going for the more long-term materials.
And that's still likely as things stand today to be within the $99,000.
No, but again, speaking of the
Close.
library board, I think we can come close enough with the most recent research I've done that we can, if there's a little difference, we can find a way to make that up.
Okay, but all you're looking for today is the architectural
Yes.
services to advance things.
That's correct.
I am just a touch uncomfortable with statements like a little difference, I think we can make it up and that type of thing. Do you have any feel?
Oh, yeah, I have concrete quotes from a local firm who does this kind of work recently. The original quotes were dated. That's why I wanted to do contemporary research.
All right,
So the
All right.
most research, it is a difference. It's not a huge difference. It's about a $20,000 difference.
you feel the board feels that it can cover that?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get to, what kind of numbers?
And
I
I
just
didn't,
didn't want to have some surprises in a few
No, no.
months, that's all.
but at the moment, I'm just seeking the firm to develop. the
Okay,
plan.
yeah, I'm not asking you to commit to anything, but I'm trying to get a feel for what we were talking about here. Okay.
And if for whatever reason, does this work that they're going to do, I mean, is the installation and the design between slate and faux slate so dramatically different that the work they do towards slate is unusable? Do you have any idea?
That was, I spoke about this. I don't get the impression there's a huge difference in the plan itself. It's just materials at that point.
Okay, so I mean, I would think they'd be roughly similar size and weight, whatever, but who knows? This is for slate as it stands right now.
Right.
And it's the architectural plans.
Right.
Okay.
and this is a firm that we often hear referenced by
Oh,
Cliff
sure.
for things with
Board of Ed.
Board of Ed projects. Yeah.
Somebody said 17,000. What I'm looking at is 14.
After the original quote was, based on that, they added they offered the 3,200 for the hazmat testing, and Steve Nydorf highly recommended that we include that.
Oh, yeah, I see. Okay,
So altogether, it's 17,777.
that does seem, so hazmat testing for deconstruction or tear down,
Because it is 90 years old, so it's,
so we don't know what's up there.
Right.
Sounds sensible.
I would think slate would have less, but
But you don't know what they put underneath of it.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, do we need a motion?
Yes, sir.
So move.
Second,
Thank you, everybody. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks. Keep us posted.
Thanks.
Keep up the good work down there.
There was a fourth agenda. It's one of the 4 new agendas.
Did I have something? No, I think we have, oh, is he here?
It was on the screen before.
Yeah, I was gonna sort of add them when we do.
All right,
normal-
okay.
Those are appointments.
In the appointments and
I just didn't
resignations.
want you,
Thank you. No, any nudge on?
I'm just nagging you.
She's keeping an eye out. I see that.
He's reporting to Luke. He's mad.
And Janice
I would
also has
normally
the
text you.
agenda, so
I normally text you.
you have the floor. Thanks.
Good morning, Janice Plasiak, Town Engineer. I don't know if you folks have had the opportunity to meet David Castro, our new Public Works Director. He's joining me
Morning.
for-
Welcome. Thanks for coming down.
Thanks.
He's joining me for a couple of the items which involve the Public Works Department. The first one is the paving projects with Tilcon. We've been working on trying to get together a paving program this summer, and the past in June, I came to you with regard to the unique situation with Mountain Trail, which was approved to go with Tilcon for that reclamation and paving project. But we've been working for a number of years on trying to move forward some of these other projects, which are kind of coming into fruition. And there is a benefit for us to kind of congregate paving projects with Tilcon because their price per ton goes down as you get higher in quantity. So what you have before you are requests for approval for the paving at the transfer station, which has been a capital item in place to do some selective paving throughout the transfer station, since we have a mix of pavement and gravel out there. That's been a maintenance problem. And of course, Public Works will help with the preparation. So this will just be some paving by Tilcon. A longstanding project was the reclamation and paving of Briarwood Road and Thornhill Road. That was a past capital item that was approved years ago, and we have an approximate cost of about $570,000 in order to achieve that. And we're adding in the overlay of Hungry Hill Circle, which is a small cul-de-sac that years past, there was an attempt to do some pavement improvements, which have not held up well, and it's kind of a mess. So looking at it with David, we decided that an 1.5-inch overlay would really kind of just improve the roadway significantly with a minimal cost of $29,000. Adding in Mountain Trail, that'll bring our total approximate costs for paving this season with Tilcon to $674,000. Prep work will be done by Public Works. That includes catch basin top replacements and any other, prep work along the edges of the roads and things like that. So we're asking that you would approve this, understanding that prices are fluctuating daily due to escalation costs and things, and these are based on quantity estimates. But we do have monies in the budget to cover these projects. I was going to ask that if you can entertain, David's done some research on trying to acquire the catch basin tops that are needed to replace on the roads. He just got his last pricing on Friday, so I'm not sure if you can add into your agenda or to this agenda item, the approval of a lowest cost for those purchase of those catch basin tops.
Are they part of these projects?
Yes, they are part of these projects, so they are needed in order for them to prep the roads for the paving to happen. We're scheduled to have the paving occur in September with Tilcon, given.
I think, it just makes sense to.
Sure.
And I don't know if you want to do it as a separate item or add it to this item. I'm not sure how
Let's
it's.
just add it. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we can have, well, first of all, why don't you tell us how many you're talking about, what the parameters are that you're going to spend?
We went with, there's 40 catch basins on Briarwood that need to be replaced. I got estimates from 3 companies, and I noticed, I went off asked them about the state bid, and with the state bid, they order them with the grates, which increases the cost of the basins. So I asked them for the price without the grates, because the grates that are there are fine. They're galvanized steel. It'll take 100 years before they rot out. So why don't we save money? So I brought the cost from 20,400 for one estimate down to $12,770
For 40.
for 40 catch basins.
How long is Briarwood?
Oh,
It's almost a mile. It's a very long,
40 catch basins in a mile.
yeah.
well, there's also a lot of streams that it crosses at
Yeah,
least two
there's some
streams.
cross culverts as well. So
I
it's,
mean, yeah, that's great work, 12,000. I would have thought it. And the installation would be part of the paving process? Is that-
We're gonna install them.
right, Public Works crews will do the prep work with the removal and replacement of the catch basin tops, and then it'll be ready for Tilcon to come
Can
in.
you say that the grades last a long time? Because I've seen, not only in our town, but in other towns, a lot of that kind of work where they pull the old concrete top up and stuff like. I mean, the concrete, the ones I see pulled up don't look that bad, other than a few chips from plows and things like that. But they don't work, you can't just raise them.
So the basin themselves are gonna be replaced. The concrete is deteriorated, but the grate itself, we're reusing them to save money.
I understand
And-
that part of it. But the concrete just deteriorates.
Yeah, especially with the salts and.
By the time you lift them and everything, it's probably.
Yeah, I mean, if they're in good shape, if they're, were replaced within several years, or if they're in good shape for some reason, they'll just be lifted, but if they're not in good shape, they should be replaced. We're gonna end up with a completely new looking road, basically, well, in this case with reclamation, it will be a new road, because they're gonna reclaim.
12,000 doesn't seem
Yeah.
at all unreasonable. 40.
Yeah.
So what do we need? A motion to include both of them and just move the whole thing, or?
I think we need a motion to add give the exact quote again for the catch basin.
$12,770.
I'll move that, add that to the original.
Second,
Okay, any further discussion on that? Sounds like it makes sense to me. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. All right, so that's part of it. So we would add that amount to the original proposal. Can I get a motion on the original proposal for this paving work that's laid out?
That's the 674.
Well, that includes Mountain Trail, which you already approved, so,
So it'd be 674 plus the 12.
yeah.
12 change, yeah.
Okay. I'll
And they're
move
two
that.
different vendors, just to be clear.
Unfortunately, you brought up one more question in my mind with the mountain trap.
I know. So you got it.
you made a motion.
I made a motion on the 12. Oh, okay, I'll make a motion on that, the 674 plus. the
All right,
12.
I'll second it.
Yeah, that's what we have some discussion, it sounds like.
Okay, I just want to double check on Mountain Trail. I know we've discussed it at length. I'm just concerned about the issue that we had last time with Mountain Trail, where we did something that caused us future responsibility. Can you refresh my mind on where we ended up with paving this? Are we now accepting this as a road?
No, it won't be accepted as a road, and the town has done improvements on it in the past. In this case, the improvement that was done several years ago has caused severe erosion, and then therefore our crews are out there,
I'm familiar with that history. I
Yeah.
just want to.
No, so by virtue of doing the improvements, we can make it clear, with a letter to the association that, this is in no way acceptance of the road, it's just an effort
Okay, all right.
to kind of put it back together, and
And
we're
in
doing the
court,
minimum we have to.
If it ever came down to a court issue, we're
Well,
doing what we can. So you don't know what's going to happen there.
court,
How about plowing?
we've always plowed that
Oh,
neighborhood,
okay. So we're not adding any,
no.
In a sense, we're fixing the previous fix.
Right, exactly, yeah,
And there's going to be, I had raised that question before, there's going to be some communication so that the association will have both on our side, but you're going to send a letter
right.
in some way.
Yeah, that's-
acknowledging
it's
that this is-
remaining- So it's a B1 minimum maintenance road, and it's gonna remain as a B1 minimum maintenance road,
it's just a better people.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and there will be remaining sections that stay unimproved as gravel road.
In paving it, is it going to? I assume we're going to do something about the drain. I mean, paving, I would think would almost increase drainage, so that part is being.
No, I mean, what you have out there is very compacted gravel, or in this case, it was millings. There's no pervious it's not pervious in any way. It's impervious. And as part of that, there will be some prep work for the catch basin tops to be adjusted to accept the new grading on the road and cleaning those out, so.
Thank you, basically.
In a sense, where that just happens to be included in this because it's all the.
It's
asphalt's
bulk, yeah,
gonna be
because,
a bulk purchase.
we're trying to do a bulk purchase with Tilcon and add in all these little, separate projects into one purchase order, so we get the best pricing from them as possible.
So for the folks on Briarwood and Thornhill, this is repaving, right? It's gonna.
We're reclaiming it, so we're actually gonna be grinding it in the pavement as well as the base of the road, mixing it up to create a new base and reshape it in the same profile and cross-section that's there now, and the same footprint, but you basically end up with a newly constructed road from the base up. So it's not just pavement, it's the base as well. That's
Great, that's fantastic. And what time frames? So those folks have some ideas. There's going to be a period of time where people aren't going to be able to, because there's only one way in and one way out on that.
Yeah, they're gonna be able to get in and out. There may be delays, it's gonna be a rough, ride for some.
To work on one side of the road and then the other, is that?
The whole road will end up getting they'll just, the reclamation machine just kind of runs down the road similar to a milling machine and kind of grinds it all up. It'll be, rough and loose, and then they'll send in their graders to grade it and their rollers to roll it, and then it'll be a better gravel road to drive on until it then gets paved. So it's gonna be a process, and it's a little painful, and but it's you end up with a new road in the end. So and traffic will need to be maintained, access to the homes. So
Well, in that same vein, then the transfer station, the work that we're going to do there, it's not anything that's going to have to be redone when we address the bigger issues at transfer station.
This is to pave areas that are gravel now in the parking and driving areas, and it's gonna be done on a Wednesday when we're trying to schedule it on a day when the transfer station's closed. It's just to kind of button up all the potholes and,
That curve around by the bulky waste and everything. That's all.
Yeah, there's a big puddle all the time by the bulky waste disposal. We're gonna regrade that and get that to drain and then have it paved so it holds up better, those types of things. We have some potholes on the entrance.
So it's not anything that's gonna have to be redone, because I know they were looking at a bigger plan for transfer stations up there.
Well, without knowing what that plan is, I can't say that, some of this might not be impacted, but it's a needed
It's
kind
bad
of
enough now that,
maintenance issue. Yeah, this is more maintenance than improvement in my mind.
Okay,
So I think we have a
moved
motion.
it already.
We did move it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Discussing it.
Any further discussion?
No.
You could probably make a YouTube video of this repaving job and make a lot of kids happy in town. by
There's
the way.
probably some out there.
I know one or two enjoy watching this equipment at work. So with all that, if there's no further discussion, I'll call for a motion. All in favor of the paving project
Aye.
plus the 12,000 for the catch basins? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No?
Hi, sorry.
Okay, that's all right. Great, passes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well done.
All right, the next one is the consider and take action on the service station equipment under the state bid for the installation of the slab and bollards at the new fueling station at Public Works. Originally, Public Works was gonna take on this effort, but once they got into the project and realized it was gonna be a little more than they can handle, we did reach out to Service Station, who is currently our vendor for this project, to install the new tank and remove the old tank system. That they do this work as well. So they gave us a proposal on this fueling slab that is required to be installed around the new above ground fueling station. And as part of it, they have separated out some of the excavation time, and we're gonna see if we can work with Public Works to help with some of that work and to keep the costs at a minimum. But overall, the proposal for the work is estimated to be about $52,000.
So the underground tank removal is already in process. They've already been approved for this.
Right, they have already been awarded that, yeah.
So when But so when it was all said and done, no more underground tanks, everything will be above ground. And the slab, I presume, is some sort of catch?
It's not a catch, you're required around a fueling station to have concrete as your base
Okay.
for where the vehicles sit for fueling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you go to if you notice when you go to a gas station, they all have the concrete
As
slabs.
opposed to asphalt.
As opposed to asphalt, yeah. Because asphalt will degrade if petroleum products fall on it or if there's a spill. Because it's made of petroleum products, so that's why you're required to have a concrete slab. And it is a reinforced concrete slab with, reinforcing in it, because you're gonna have, heavy trucks and equipment who are fueling on this slab, so it's not like just a thin, concrete slab.
So, and this is down at the current Public Works location?
Yes.
Okay, so what is the projected life cycle for this project? I mean,
So the slab itself is got a long life cycle.
Yeah,
As does the tank, but as you know, the beauty of the above ground tank is it can be relocated. Unfortunately, the slab can't be relocated.
and so we need it now to continue functioning.
To continue our fueling operations at the Public Works, we need it, yes. So the tank came with its own slab that it was placed on.
Right.
And that was a precast slab that could be relocated with the tank in the future, but this poured in place reinforced slab for the, fueling area adjacent to the fuel tanks is a site improvement and will not, it stays in place.
And as things stand, even if there are some eventual changes with the location of Public Works, we have many years of
Yeah, we have-
operations there,
Yeah, yes,
and we can't operate without this.
and we cannot operate without it, right?
Okay, just want to
And-
make
and
sure
right now we're-
that somebody's going to ask those questions.
Yeah, and right now, we can't proceed with finishing the project until the slab is done, and then we're at a point now that the tank's in place, the conduit for the wiring's all in place. The next step is the bollards and the slab to be poured, so.
How big is the tank?
Oh,
That size,
we
Gary?
have a 6,000 diesel and a 4,000 gas in place. It's a one tank with dual chambers.
How often does something like that have to get refilled? Kind of a monthly thing, or weekly thing?
I think it's well, keep in mind, we did upsize, so I think currently, trusting my memory, I think we have a 3,000 gallon gasoline tank in the ground and a 4,000 diesel currently. So we upsized the new tank so that we have more capacity, particularly in emergency situations like, hurricanes and kind of storm events. It's good to have that little reserve in case you can't or delayed on getting deliveries. I'm not overly familiar with how often they would fuel, but I would think it would be probably at least once a month, if not more often. And with the new size tanks, it might be a little less often.
You say tanks are already in, I don't want to micromanage that, I'm just concerned about the amount of fuel stored in that location, but I guess that's all been.
Yeah,
It's already there, it's already been through all the permitting.
Right, yeah, I mean, the tank's in place and we're following all the NFIP requirements for safety and all that.
I was going to ask a variation of that, which is, I mean, is there, and again, that's not before us, but since it's coming up, I mean, is there sort of like built-in fire suppression with that? Or, I mean, sometimes I feel like you go to gas stations, you see those.
No, there's no
nozzles or-
built-in fire suppression because we don't have a canopy or
Oh, okay.
anything, but there is an automatic shut off system. If there's a problem with either overflow or something, you hit the red button and it shuts everything down. And it's gonna be placed in an area where it's set back from all the buildings properly, working with the fire marshal. The bollards you see on this plan, that's part of this project, is to protect it from vehicle strikes. And there will be a system that you can't fuel unless you have an approved, in this case, we're going from keys to fobs. And the area has to be fenced off as well. So there's, all those safety mechanisms put in place.
And what is the staffing at that location? Is there someone there 24 hours?
No.
No, that's why it will be locked off.
Two shifts though?
No,
No, one
One
shift, day shift.
one day shift.
And then there's no
Unless
one,
there's a storm.
Unless there's a
And
storm,
unless
then they
there's a
work,
storm.
then they work 24 or 48 hours.
and we all appreciate it. Interesting, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like we need it.
Yes, we do.
This is.
Yeah, I just concerned with having
And
that
ju- and
much
just-
fuel so near the environmental issue.
For your consideration, we did go out to try and get other pricing too. And we went to three known, concrete contractors. We only got one proposal and it was more in the $70,000 to $80,000 range. So this was a good price as well. So I was happy with that. In terms of it not only being a state bid price, but also being a good competitive price.
Okay, I don't think we have a motion yet. Sandy, you want to take a run at one?
Yeah, sure, so moved.
I'll second it, but I do have one more question.
By all means.
Now that this has gone from Public Works doing it to outside service, are the dollars under control for this?
Yes, we did check. We have still for all the service station work, we still have a balance of 144,000 in the account. The service station work that's been approved, if you approve this today, will be about $125,000. So that'll leave us the balance of the 144 less 125 still in the account for this project.
Okay.
And keep in mind, the original approval with service station was well above what their proposal was in case we had some unknown situation once we get in the ground. So we still may be even well below, the project budget.
I'm ready to vote.
Good. Anything else?
No, good.
All right, all in favor of this proposal for the concrete slab at the fueling station?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that one passes. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
You have one more.
Yep, sidewalk work. As you know, we're anticipating paving of Route 146 next year by the state. And I've been continuously looking at areas along that route that's going to be paved for improvements to our sidewalk system, as well as, in this case, there's some bad curbing that I hope to possibly work with DOT to see if they can assist as well along Water Street. And I had gotten complaints about one area on Water Street by the intersection of Howard where there's a tree that's uplifted the sidewalk significantly, causing some challenges of walking in that area. That's a safety hazard. And adjacent to that are some handicap ramps that could be upgraded to current standards because they're substandard right now. And then I've also gotten complaints along State Street north of Route 1, a number of sections where similar problems, either trees have lifted the sidewalk significantly, causing some hazards, or there's been just a complete deterioration of the concrete that needs to be repaired for safety improvements. The contract we have with William Lading Construction is until the middle of September. There is when their contract expires for being our on-call sidewalk contractor. So with this opportunity to try and get a little more work done and to address some of these safety hazards, I wanted to bring before you an approval of $32,500 out of the $50,000 we have budgeted for this current fiscal year for sidewalk work.
Thank you. Awesome. You may beat me to it, but.
No, I'll move it and I'm gonna start with the.
Sure. Okay.
Second.
Very good. Further discussion.
What is the timing on the state doing 146?
They're gonna do it next construction season because we have the Boston Street Sidewalk Extension Project, which is currently out to bid now, and we're hopeful to get that well underway or completed before the end of this construction season. So they decided to delay the paving project until we were completed with the sidewalk project. I did hear recently from the garage superintendent here in Guilford that he is intending to do some improvements to the roadway because of the rideability, which with a minor like thin layer overlay just to hold the road together, I guess he's decided to do until they do the full pavement project next year.
So just to remind everybody what the Boston Street is, it's going to continue from.
Where it ends across from the cemetery on Boston Street, it's going to be extended all the way to Boston Post Road.
Okay, so it's going to go behind that triangle of land there where.
It'll go up to where the diner is.
Go to the diner.
Just about. It's going to go on the north side of the road to a point to where there's going to be a crossing to the south side of the road. And then it's going to continue all along the south side of Boston Street
Okay.
up. So not on the triangle side, but on the other side all the way up to the first driveway on Boston Post Road, which is somewhat across from where the new sidewalks that were put in as part of the water tower project.
And when you say sidewalk deficiencies on 146.
Right.
Near Water Street, but so that's not adding to sidewalks, it's sort of repairing
It's
and
repairing.
improving what's there.
Right, we have tripping hazards, you know, curbing that's in bad condition that should be replaced, adjacent to the sidewalk, so those things.
And any projects like that would be, you know, you have to account for ADA issues, right? There'd be
Right.
ramps where necessary.
Right, and yeah, we're gonna do the ramps at the intersection of Howard Avenue, which ties in with this lifted section of sidewalk over there where the tree is. That's been a hazard. I've got complaints about that.
Is there, separate subject, I don't want to delay it, but has there ever been any discussion with the state regarding 146 and across the bridge and, you know, around that bend, maybe up to Jacobs or something like that? Because I have to travel that quite often. There's a substantial number of walkers in that area, and that is it's possible, especially past the bridge there. Has there ever been any discussion with the state regarding
Well, the state won't do.
changing the road or lines or anything?
So that's gonna be part of the study that's gonna be undertaken by the state for a management and corridor study of Route 146. So we're waiting for that study to happen and the results of that and the public input to that project. I think if you recall, the Safe Streets Task Force kind of evolved out of petitions, one of which was sidewalks along 146 in that area and I think Long Hill Road and a couple other locations in town. So, you know, these are certainly things that have
That
been
area, I
talked
don't know
about.
whether it's or residences or whatever it is, but it seems more like downtown than it does. You know,
Right.
you think of 146 as the scenic road beyond the railroad bridge there, but that little section there, getting people to those other side streets seems to be getting plenty of activity.
Mhm.
And ongoing, challenge
That's
to
an
get-
ongoing, you know, study and,
the right sidewalks in the right places.
right, and or things that can be done, like you said, to the roadway, you know.
Yeah, I just think when they
Narrowing
pave,
lanes,
if they
yeah.
just change the line,
Well, they,
unfortunately, especially on the bridge, you get a group of people that fish, I guess. And then
Or crap.
whatever, well, I mean, they're there and they're using that side of the road but yet they're consistently a substantial number of walkers and they're trying to walk, you know, used to call them gutters. I don't know what they call them anymore. But anyway, that could be, the gutters could be swept or cleaned up because I know the bikers can't drive right there
Right.
because so much gravel.
I'm confused. I thought you said Jacob's Beach, but you.
Jacob's Lane.
Jacob's Lane, okay.
Yeah, that's that first.
Yes.
side street
Yes,
off of
yes,
that.
yes.
so the benefit you'll get out of the paving project is in preparation of the paving,
Yeah,
DOT
like
will go out there, will really clean the edges of the road, which tend to get, you know, like you said, accumulated with materials and overgrown, so that'll be a nice
That and
outfall.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, result of the paving project next year. And they'll likely, you know, we'll ask them to, and I think it was brought to the police commission by the Safe Streets Task Force to request as narrow of a lane as possible to leave as much shoulder as possible. I think the state will only accommodate a minimum 11-foot travel lane for, you know, for the vehicles. So then you're left with whatever's, you know, remaining for walkers or bikers to use.
Okay, didn't mean to sidetrack, I'm sorry.
All right, I think we already had a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Everybody's good. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for all this.
All right,
Welcome.
thank you.
Visit anytime.
Thank you.
Supposed to-
You're welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Well,
So I know we have some other folks here, but if I can just go through the agenda still, we do have to set a town meeting item number 9. August 15th at 8:15 is the proposal to consider an act on the recommendation of the Board of Selectmen in compliance with section 3-4(2) of the Guilford Town Charter that the town accepts a certain piece or parcel of land located on Assessor's Map 79, Lot 48, and is bordered by the West River and Hubbard Road. So the idea is we would meet on the 15th, which is our next meeting, regularly scheduled meeting, but at 8:15 for this town meeting, which we've done a number of times. So I have a motion.
I have a map if you want to see it.
I'd love to see the map. So moved.
So good.
Second.
So we have that on the, before us. Thanks. Kevin? You're waiting very patiently. Appreciate that.
We're here for. Here's a, for you guys in here, there's a. Paper copy if you wanna. Glance at what we're looking at here. Others might be a little closer to the screen.
Don't need to do anything here.
Nope, I got it here. Tracy should have me set.
Wonderful.
So this is the new development on Hubbard Road where the housing complex with affordable housing is going to be constructed.
Well,
As
the 100 apartments.
100 apartments with 30 units of affordability at different ranges, I believe. is
Okay.
Considered there. As part of subdivision requirements, there's an open space requirement that goes with it. So they are deeding over to the town, 0.4 acres of land located along the West River. The area along the West River's here, followed up here, connects up to Hubbard Road, and there's a bridge up here on Hubbard Road.
Could you orient me as to where Long Hill Road would be?
Certainly need to back out of it. So Long Hill Road would be on the left-hand side of the screen here,
Okay.
and right-hand side of the screen would be Route 77.
Oh, so it's kind of the corner of that?
This is the middle of.
So the middle of Hubbard Road,
Yeah.
the bus yard is across the street from it.
Yes,
So
okay.
you go over the current West River Bridge there.
Yes.
It's installed, and it's the old Fonacella property.
Yes.
So where is the land that is gonna be open space?
So the land's open space is this line here.
Along the river.
So it's line right along the river here.
The boundary to the left is,
So the area to the left is, this is gonna be one unit area for units for apartment complex.
yeah,
This lot here will be the second area for the housing complex. And then this darker line here is the open space line, which then makes us turn along parallel to Hubbard Road, and then connects back over. It's a 20-foot strip connected to Hubbard Road, which provides public access from Hubbard Road down into it for fishermen. My understanding it's stocked for fishing and stuff by DEP through this, or DEP, through this corridor itself.
So the open space is between that line that you just showed us.
Yep, this line
and the
here,
river-
and the river here, yep,
And how much acreage is that?
0.4 acres. And then this open space actually connects to the town of Guilford piece, which is the firehouse property in police department complex.
Where is the cemetery in relation to this?
Cemetery is a little bit, probably say about 600 or so feet.
So it's interior, but it ends up connecting to the police and fire.
Correct, you have to cross the river to it, but it does connect to the,
Does that? I hate to bring this up. Does that work towards solving our storage unit?
no, it doesn't, because it's the open space has the West River, so you have the width of West River between the two pieces.
On the opposite side. of the-
Opposite side, so it's an area of kind of protected open space in a
And
way.
it's not meant to be used for anything but open space.
Correct, it's meant for open space, public passive recreational use there.
And it's not like there's going to be any parking structure. It's not going to be any park. People can access it on foot.
They can access it on foot, they can pull off on the little driveway to the bus yard or something like that, or walk over and go fishing. Or
So
go along there.
picking that line that, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
Sure.
Picking that line that they picked as opposed to including the other river there was just a matter of them needing the acreage for their development.
Oh, going further to the left,
Yes.
so if you're going this way here, yes, and the acreage for the development here.
Yeah, okay.
Because just above here, unfortunately, I don't have the development plan, right above here is like the stormwater.
View area and all that.
The stormwater maintenance system is just above And this,
Okay.
this opening here, area here, then the house building runs along this way, so, yeah,
It would have been nice to have been able to include the river, but I can.
no, we do have the river.
No, the other, or whatever that,
That's topography, I think.
Yeah, the river is right here to your far right.
what's that other darker lines to the left of our border there?
This here,
Yes.
this is your wetlands line with the numbers on it.
Well, on
Oh,
the-
so that's wetlands, not an actual river.
Yeah, that's the wetlands line here.
Okay, all right. okay.
And where are we with the project itself? Has it gotten all the approvals it needs? It's still in the approval process?
It's working on it. So part of this decision will be the heating of the land, and then once the lots are separate, they can go to the state to get their septic system approval, because right now it's 2 different septics, 2 different lots, 2 different buildings.
So if they don't get approval, we don't get this land.
They have plenty of zoning approval and inland wetlands approval, so they have the town level approvals. It's just, as Jamie indicated, it's the State Department, Health Department approval. And they can't, they reviewed it, my understanding is, but they can't fully sign off on it until the property's been fully subdivided into 2 different joint ownerships.
Okay,
We're like the next step.
And you will be here on the 15th with these maps and the presentation for the town
Be available, correct?
be available. Okay, that's fine. Because people are going to want to know this. So thank you for coming as well.
Yep.
So all we're looking to do is add a schedule, a point on the schedule to have the town meeting. So can we get a motion on that?
Oh,
second.
I'll share here, there you go.
Anything further on that front? Hearing none. Okay, all in favor of scheduling the meeting August 15th, at 8:15? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. Thanks, everybody.
All set.
You can have your map too. Thanks for that.
Okay, terrific. I was tired.
I was a little interested. There's already an easement on the walkway through the private property.
Yeah, they have as part of their development, a walkway that they showed as part of the development to get down to the river there, so that.
So that'll be on their property, but essentially it's in an area that they're not going to develop either.
Yeah, they'll be walking down and then that connecting to
Yeah, I will.
the path of connecting to the town, a path on the town piece there to the river.
Right.
Wonderful.
So we need to reach out to all those entities to make sure they can come on that date or something representing.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's okay.
just conducting some town business.
Little meeting management. It's all right, good. It's all good. Thanks. That brings us to 10, receive and discuss the cannabis survey.
Considering we don't have Lou or Sue, do you think,
Matt.
we can
do
receive
have
it,
Lou.
but as far as, I mean,
Matt.
Matt, I'm sorry. I just think this is important enough that we ought to have.
No question. So we talked about, Sue had actually mentioned this to me prior to the meeting. She wanted to make sure everybody was here, especially Matt. Right now, there's no presentation. There's no one here from Zen City. They sent us the material. Everybody's free to look it over. And this will come up at a subsequent meeting. So we don't need.
Yeah, I think we should table it for next meeting or something, like whatever you
Because
have
we're
to do.
just under the gun between now and December 31st.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah,
So I
Yeah,
mean,
we've got extended to the 31st.
yeah, so we have time,
right. So I think it's not even a table that's necessary. I think it's no action.
right?
And we have it, we can look it over and it'll roll over to the next agenda. So that's sensible.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so that brings us to appointments and resignation, in which case I'll jump back to the added items. We added an item to receive the resignation of Juan Colberg from the Human Rights Commission. Do I have a motion with thanks and regret?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Thanks, Kevin. Any discussion? No? Okay, all in favor of receiving that resignation? Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No? Thank you, Mr. Colberg. Next item added to the agenda was a recommendation to appoint Mateen Cosgel, I hope I'm getting those names correct, to the Human Rights Commission to fill a vacancy for a term to expire June 30th, 2024. All in favor? Oh, no, so do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any discussion on that new member for the Human Rights Commission? No, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, thank you. Brings us back to our regular agenda. Act on the reappointment of Diane Auger to the Agricultural Commission for a term to expire September 29, 2024. We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Okay, any further discussion? No, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next item. Add a reappointment of John Wedeman to the Agricultural Commission for a term to expire September 29, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? No, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks. Act on the appointment of Peter Perkins to the Agricultural, we're busy there, Agricultural Commission for a term to expire September 29, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Is it my imagination or is it unique to getting nominations from, is the Ag Commission different than other commissions?
We're getting it right from them as opposed to one of the,
Yeah, rather through the Board of Selectmen or any of the town committees.
well, interestingly, Tracy was gonna, I did notice that the one did come from, oh, maybe she's on the, Kim Brockett's on the Agricultural Commission.
Mhm.
That seems a little unusual.
There are a lot of members you appointed directly. It's one of those commissions that it wasn't always a recommendation from a town committee. So the appointments can come from the chair. They've done it. You've done it before.
My concern is a concern that Sue has had in the past is that folks have been, lack of a better word, vetted. Or at least, somebody has looked at their application rather than us just getting it and approving it. Somebody has spent some time on it. It just is a little bit different. I just want to make sure that it's all under control and that we're doing everything consistent.
Well, Tracy, do we have those application forms from them?
Yeah, these are just reappointments. They're on the commission and their terms expired a couple of years ago and they just want to, make it official that,
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and it's not any of these particular individuals. I don't have any issue with any of them or anything like that. It just procedurally, to me, it seemed a little bit different getting these from a commission versus through the Board of Selectmen office or a town committee. That's my only point I'm making.
Yeah. It does have the look
It all
of
procedurally
cleaning up
is
some of that.
okay. I have no problem with any of these individuals or anything like that, as long as procedurally we're under control.
It's a good point. But, okay, with that, I think we made it through. Did we act on Mr. Perkins, Trey? I think we did.
I don't know.
Yeah. So we acted on
Yeah,
the
we
three
did
so
do
far.
all three. actually.
Yeah.
We did, yes.
So with that observation duly noted, we can move to Barbara Casey, which is a request directly from her to the Selectmen's office to be to a Scenic Roads Advisory Committee and to the Land Acquisition Committee,
I'll move, Barbara.
term to expire August 18, 2026.
I'll second.
Just so I spit it out. Okay, any further discussion on Ms. Casey? Well, hearing none.
And
all-
she's present.
Oh, hi there.
Hi, Barbara.
Thanks for zooming in.
She's been on the meeting the whole time.
Patience.
Yeah, mute.
She was waiting with bated breath to see if we were going to approve it.
And you've been here many times, and thanks for all the work. So all in favor of a appointment to those
Aye.
two
Aye.
boards? Aye. Any opposed? No. Thank you for the volunteering. Okay, request for use of town property, green use. This is request from Yale New Haven Hospital to use the green September 10, 2022 as a rest stop for its closer to free
yeah.
ride. It's free ride. Do we have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second.
And it looks like they did make sure they've notified the police for approval. So it looks like all the hoops have been jumped through here. Any further discussion? No, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Any opposed? No. All right, I think that touches it. We had all the add-ons.
I'm sorry, Selectman Federici, if I might.
Yes.
At the last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, they made a referral to the Board of Select People to appoint Commissioner Sean Cosgrove to the Regional Planning Commission. which is part of the Southern Connecticut Regional Council of Governments. Anytime that we do a text amendment to our zoning regulations, or we act on something that is within proximity to another town, it will go to this body. So this body, the Regional Planning Commission, has monthly meetings. There has not been a Guilford representative since I've been part of the Planning and Zoning Commission, which is, I guess, now 4 years. And we would like to have representation there. So at their last meeting, the commission put forward Sean Cosgrove. I think I made an error by not getting it on your agenda. So I apologize.
So our first step would be to add that to our agenda?
Right, exactly. So, yeah, just, can you tell us in what capacity you're here and what you're
Sure. So
proposing?
my name is Jamie Stein. I'm the town planner. I also staff the Planning and Zoning Commission. And in our last meeting, I don't even know what day it is. Was it maybe July
It was a
20th?
Wednesday,
It was a Wednesday.
the 20th.
We, in our other business, we approved the referral of Commissioners Sean Cosgrove to the Regional Planning Commission. And now he needs to be appointed by the Board of Select People. I believe that's the decision.
Tracy, is it appropriate for us to add this to agenda at this point in time in the meeting and just vote on it? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. You can do that.
I'll move to add it to the.
I'll second.
Okay, great. Any discussion on that motion to add? No, hearing none. All in favor of adding this item to the agenda?
Aye.
Okay, Sandy?
Aye.
Aye, sorry.
Sorry.
Okay,
I'll move.
so now the motion's on the table.
Yeah, then I'll move that Sean Cosgrove
Sean Cosgrove,
be appointed to
the Regional Planning Commission.
Regional Planning Commission.
Second,
Guilford representative.
as the Guild, second.
Okay, well, just out of curiosity, Jamie, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
The Regional Planning Commission is an independent agency, is it part of CCM? Like, what is it exactly?
I believe it's part of the COG, the Council
Oh,
of
the COG.
Governments.
Okay.
So it has representatives from all of the Southern Connecticut Regional Council of Governments, which we are a part of.
Great. Okay, any further discussion? We have that on the table here. All in favor of Sean Cosgrove being appointed to that Regional Planning Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No? All right, done. Thank you. Wonderful. Thanks. All right. So we have a couple items just to wrap up. Any other committee reports pending? Nothing. Good.
Just, Jamie and I have been talking informally about having a meeting at either the library, to just update, open to the public, to update the public about the various housing opportunities, affordable workforce housing opportunities that are happening in town. And that's going to happen in the middle of October, and I have a date secured at the library. I just don't have it in my mind, but it's the middle of October. I think it's a Tuesday night.
Well, there's a lot happening, so that would really be helpful for
Yes,
folks.
yes. It's just going to be, we hope to have representatives from the various projects present. They will each give a very brief description, and it will really be hopefully an opportunity for citizens to ask questions.
Good.
So,
Terrific.
it'll be an evening presentation of about an hour.
Good.
And then Jamie has made a great suggestion that I need to discuss probably with Matt, our committee that hasn't met in a while, but the committee, the Housing for Economic Development Plan Committee needs to be formalized. What is it that we want to do?
I believe it was Sue Renner who made the recommendation that we formalize that committee so that we can work on the implementation of the affordable housing plan.
Right, that's right. So in connection with the affordable housing plan, that's right. So that's something that has to come before this board to be voted on. So I just have to get the right wording and then it will happen. And I was going to talk to Matt about it, but I haven't yet, but I
Okay.
will.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Charles, anything? And nothing. Did anybody receive any correspondence or want to bring anything to the attention of the entire board? Nope. Any old business pending? I don't think so. And nothing? Anybody? New business of concern? And do we have anybody left for public forum? Anyone? Including out there in the ethosphere? No? Okay, wonderful. Thanks. With that, take a motion.
Sorry.
How exciting. Perfect timing.
Sorry.
Motion to adjourn.
I was on
I'll
silent
second
mode.
Okay, all in
Aye.
favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Tracy, for all your help.
Nice job, Lou. Great job.
Thank you.